Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tossing out all those glamorous Hollywood myths and looking at the stark, rigid reality of one of history's most notorious criminal enterprises. We're talking about the Italian Mafia, but specifically, we're zoning in on its organizational structure. It's a system so unforgiving, it's actually known as the Iron Ladder. Okay, let's dive into this.
Picture this for a second. You walk into a New Jersey restaurant. You're nobody, just a kid doing favors. But today is different. Today, you've been called to the back table. That incredibly long walk from the front door to the back of the room, that is exactly where our journey begins today. It's the moment this abstract idea of a criminal organization becomes a very real, very terrifying reality. Now, as you get to that back table, notice what's missing. There are no weapons in sight. No one's yelling, but the atmosphere is heavy. The silence tells you everything you need to know. It's a deadly warning that one mistake here will literally be your last. This isn't just dramatic tension for the movies, it's the fundamental rule of the underworld. You are stepping into a machine with absolutely zero margin for error.
Section 1, bottom of the ladder.
So, where do you actually begin in a system with stakes this insanely high? Well, you start at the very foundation. You're quite literally a nobody. In Mafia terminology, you are an associate. That means you're on the outside looking in, basically just a kid doing favors. You're the one running the errands, taking all the risks, and hustling to prove your worth, all without any of the actual protections that come with formal membership. It's an incredibly vulnerable spot to be in. And to survive, you have to immediately start looking up that ladder, figuring out how to climb.
Section 2, the military command.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the comparison. On one side, we have the Italian Mafia hierarchy. On the other, the Yakuza and the Air Force rank structures. We usually picture organized crime as this chaotic, unpredictable mob, right? But the data shows us something completely different. The Italian Mafia mirrors the deeply entrenched, highly disciplined rank structures of both the Japanese Yakuza and the United States Air Force. It operates as a strict military command. Every single person has a specific rank, a clear line of reporting, and rigid operational rules they have to follow. You don't just act on impulse here. You follow the chain of command.
And that chain of command requires a deliberate, step-by-step climb up this iron ladder. You start at step 1 as an associate. From there, it's a dangerous rank-by-rank ascent. There's no skipping steps. You definitely don't get promoted just based on popularity. You move up through a grueling progression within that military-style hierarchy. And if you manage to survive that climb, if you navigate the terrifying silence of those back tables without a single flaw, you might just reach step 3, the ultimate peak of the pyramid, the capo di tutti I capi.
Section 3, boss of all bosses. So, here we are at the absolute apex of the organization. This is the destination every single ambitious associate is dreaming of, whether they admit it out loud or not. We really need to understand the sheer, ominous weight of this title. Capo di tutti capi translates to the boss of all bosses. It represents the absolute top of the rank-by-rank ascent in the Italian Mafia hierarchy. When you hold this title, you sit right at the top of that massive Air Force-like structure. You command the respect, the fear, and the obedience of every single rank below you. But remember how the Iron Ladder works. To get here, you had to climb over others. And now, you're sitting at the pinnacle with nowhere higher to go, completely and utterly isolated by your own power.
Which brings us to a final, vital question to close out our explainer today. Is the absolute power at the top of the Iron Ladder actually worth the ever-present target on your back? Think about it. You start off as a kid, doing favors, terrified of making a single mistake in a quiet New Jersey restaurant. And if, by some miracle, you survive that brutal ascent through a militarized criminal hierarchy, you reach the very top, only to realize that every single person below you is now gunning for your spot. It's a structure built entirely on discipline, but sustained by pure tension. Thank you so much for joining me as we unraveled this topic today, and I'll leave you to think on that.